Commandment number 9, at the end of the discovery period, your organization should consider whether or not to attend mediation. Now, at the end of the discovery period, your organization will know a lot more about the strengths and weaknesses of the case. And unless your organization's case is extremely strong, it usually makes sense to at least consider attending mediation. Now, consider attending mediation doesn't mean you always attend mediation. Now, sometimes you have no choice because the judge will order you to mediation. I'm talking about situations where the mediation is optional. Sometimes it makes sense to mediate, and other times it does not. So, first thing you need to consider is what is the chance that the court's actually going to grant your organization a motion for summary judgment and dismiss the case without a need for trial. Now, if your organization's attorney thinks that a motion for summary judgment is likely to be granted, attending mediation before the motion for summary judgment is ruled on probably doesn't make a lot of sense. Right? If you think you're going to win through summary judgment, why go to mediation, pay for the mediation itself as well as your lawyer's time, and pay a settlement for a case that you may be about to win without having to go to trial? Okay? Having said that, if you choose not to mediate and the summary judgment motion is denied, now the employee has much greater leverage than he or she would have had if you had mediated before the motion for summary judgment was ruled on. Second thing to consider, how much will the organization spend in attorney's fees if the summary judgment is denied and you win the case trial? So let's say that the summary judgment is denied, so you're going to trial, but you think you still have a good chance to win at trial, and you do win. Okay? One of the things that you have to think about, at least if you're thinking about it as a business decision, is it going to cost more to try the case than it would be just to pay the plaintiff what he or she is asking for as a settlement? I would argue that if you can settle a case for $50,000, that's going to cost you $100,000 in legal fees to spend at trial. I think you pay the $50,000. Now, some organizations are like, no, we'll pay whatever it takes because we didn't do anything wrong. I think that thinking is not necessarily rational, but assuming that you're making a business decision, once a summary judgment is not granted, you have to think about what the cost will be at trial and decide, can we settle this case for less money than we're going to spend at trial? Not to mention, you always, no matter how strong your case is, you always take a risk of losing at trial. Let's look at a couple of examples that illustrate, I think, the important factors to keep in mind. In this first example, you're in federal court, and the judge in your case is someone who routinely grants summary judgment in favor of companies. Okay? And the discovery period is over, and the plaintiff's lawyer has come to your organization's lawyer and asked if you want to attend the mediation. Given the facts in this scenario, what's the best response for the company? First possible response, company can refuse to mediate. Secondly, the company can attend mediation but only offer a small amount to settle the case. Thirdly, company can attend mediation and pay whatever the plaintiff wants in order to get the case settled. Or fourthly, the company could attend mediation but only if the plaintiff agrees to use the mediator preferred by the company. Of those four choices, which one do you all think is the best possible choice? I think in this scenario, I think the answer is probably A. You're rolling the dice a little bit, but the history of this judge suggests you're going to win summary judgment. You've already spent all your money in discovery. If you're fairly certain you're going to win a summary judgment, yes, you will have to pay your attorney for his or her work on that. But probably at that point, if you've got a judge who you're pretty sure is going to grant summary judgment, probably doesn't make sense to attend mediation and possibly spend a lot of money on a settlement that you may not need to spend money on. Second scenario, you're in state court. The judge in your case is a Democrat. She almost never grants summary judgment to companies. Discovery period is over, and your lawyer tells you that you're not likely to get summary judgment based on the history of the attorney, and if you go to trial, you're 50-50 to win or lose the case in front of a jury. Given this scenario, the company, if it loses at trial, is going to spend $100,000 in a verdict and also $100,000 in employment in legal fees. If the company wins, no verdict, but still going to spend $100,000 in legal fees. So no matter what happens, the minimum that the company will spend going to trial is $100,000, and it could be as much as $200,000 they lose. Knowing that, which of the following is the best choice for the company? A, the company refused to attend mediation. B, attend mediation but offer no more than a very small amount to settle the case. C, attend mediation and be willing to pay up to $150,000 to settle. Or D, attend the mediation but only and be willing to pay whatever amount of money is required to settle the case. I think here this is a pure kind of dollars and cents, just common sense business decision. The scenario suggests that you're not going to get summary judgment. So at that point, you're going to spend at least $100,000 trying the case, and it's 50-50 whether you win or lose. So if half the time you'll have $200,000 total that you pay, $100,000 in legal fees and $100,000 verdict, and half the time you'll pay zero. So just playing the odds, you should be willing to settle the case for up to $150,000. Certainly you should be willing to settle it for up to $100,000, since that's what you're definitely going to spend even if you win the case. The key takeaway that I want you all to have for this commandment number 9 is that you may honestly believe that the employee did not have a meritorious case, or the former employee doesn't have a meritorious case. It's bad faith, it's an exceedingly weak case. But after you exchange hundreds, if not thousands of documents and you do some depositions, you may realize, hey, wait a second, there may be some merit to this legal case. And more importantly, especially in that second scenario where you know you're going to go to trial because you have a judge who never grants summary judgment, no matter what you think, you may wind up spending a lot of money even to win the case at trial. The old cliche of winning the battle but losing the war. There's nothing wrong or weak or inappropriate for your company making a business decision to attend mediation based on what you learned in discovery, as well as who the judge is and how much you're likely to spend.